At most of the racetracks, you're cornering for a large percentage of the lap. That's why you could say the races are won and lost in the corners.
The corners are where all your speed is gained or lost. Sometimes you see a guy going down the straightaway and you think this other car has 50 more horsepower because he drives right by him. Well, people don't understand that was all momentum from what happened back in the corner. The guys that understand the corner the best, make the car change direction the fastest and apply the power the best, they're going to be successful.
The roar of the engines, the squeal of the tires, and the race to victory lane. It all says NASCAR. A race car is much more than steel, gas, rubber, and speed. A race car is a science experiment on wheels.
Driving a stock car is easy, right? Go fast and turn left. Turns out there's a whole lot more to turning left than you might think.
Racing is usually all about the turns when it comes to NASCAR because you or I could probably drive in a straight line. Our speeds are not 300 miles an hour. At 180 or 200 miles an hour, while that seems fast, straight is straight and it's pretty easy to do.
Straight is simple. In fact, most things want to go straight. When I give this ball a push, it goes straight, and it will keep going straight until something makes it change direction. Similarly, a race car going 180 miles an hour down the straightaway will keep going 180 miles an hour down the straightaway unless something makes it change direction. That something is the centripetal force.
In order to make the car go around a corner, we have to provide a force that is perpendicular to the direction of travel.
When I tie the ball to a string and push the ball, the centripetal force generated by the string makes the ball move in a circle. Of course, race cars don't have strings to make them turn. They have tires.
The contact patch for the tire would be its footprint, the tire itself's footprint relative to the track.
When sitting still, the contact patch for a single tire is about the area of a man's size 11 shoe print. But tire camber, the banking of the track, and the way the car's weight shifts in the turn may make it smaller. So for a right front tire in a left turn,
you're looking at a contact patch that's probably 4 inches wide, maybe 2 to 3 inches long. So you're talking about a very small area producing a very large amount of force.
Taking turn 1 at Texas Motor Speedway at 180 miles an hour requires over 10,000 pounds of centripetal force. That's something a driver notices.
I rarely ever take my hand off the steering wheel in the corners, but there are certain tracks we go to where maybe I have had to do something, and the first time you do it, it's sort of a wake-up call. You go, whoa, and you got to kind of catch your hand and be ready for it.
The time when I really notice it is if I go to grab my drink bottle or something, even under caution, my hand pools up with blood, and I have to bring it back and work it a little bit to make it quit tingling.
The couple of tons of force you need to make the car turn doesn't only come from the tires.
If you go out into a parking lot and you try to drive around in the circle, you don't have a whole lot of confidence because the parking lot's completely flat. And you have nothing really holding you up, and eventually you want to slide out. But now if you put angle or banking to that and you pull 2 or 3 degrees of lateral G, well, now that banking is really helping you to go around and to the left.
Banking makes the car think it's driving a straighter line. So if you have a corner radius, say a really tight corner radius, and there's no banking, you can only go around that corner, say 50 mile an hour. But now take a similar corner radius with a high bank, you can go 100 mile an hour.
The track always pushes on the car perpendicular to the track's surface. On a flat track, the force is straight up. On a banked track, only part of the track's push is straight up. The rest of the push is toward the center. The track actually helps the car turn.
If you drive around a racetrack in a street car, you have to turn to the right because the banking alone wants to slide you to the bottom of the track.
Even though Dover and Phoenix are both 1-mile tracks, Dover has 24 degrees of banking, while the highest banked turn at Phoenix is only 11 degrees. Cars get a lot more help turning at Dover than they do at Phoenix. Even air helps the cars turn.
The amount of grip that's generated by all 4 tires basically sums together with the side force that's aerodynamically pushing on the car to sum to a force that will dictate how hard you can corner the car.
Aerodynamic side force is the force of the air pushing the car sideways, just like you'd feel when you're driving past a semi-trailer on the expressway. Side force is also one reason for the end plate on the rear wing.
If we add 10 pounds of side force, which would be aerodynamic side force, basically air pushing the car back to center, if you will, so trying to steer it straight, then that's directly 10 pounds going to help turn the car.
The next time someone tells you that all there is to driving a stock car is turning left, you tell them it takes a combination of tires, the track, and the air to generate the thousands of pounds of force necessary to get a car into and out of a turn at 180 miles an hour. Guts and a heavy right foot help, but in the end, you need the right science to turn left.